Hello, Lovelace. Welcome to today's English lesson, which allows us to make a start on our piece of writing. So we're going to do our box up today, or certainly start our box up, and we'll explore how the box up used for Christopher Marlowe's biography before I set you loose on creating your own box up for your biography. Okay, so here's our box up. Now we can find this on Teams in the resource channel. So you're welcome to take it off there and to write into it online, or even print it off and handwrite, whatever works best for you, or even just copy up the headings, whatever works best for you. But you can see we've got 6 headings. We're breaking the biography down into 6 parts. We've got the introduction, so names, dates, key facts, and about the biography, who the biography is going to talk about. Remember, the introduction is just a summary, some of the sort of the standout points. We've got the early life, where and when they were born, their education, and sort of key events during their education or towards the end of their education that maybe steered them as regards their career and their choices in life. Then the link to career itself. So what events in their early life sort of steered them in that direction, how they got their first jobs. Their work, life and career, so what they actually did. Say, well, was that the reason they were famous? Well, no. Or was the reason they were famous something they did on the side as a hobby or that sort of thing? During that, any key events or life-changing moments? Then we get to the end of life part of our biography. So what events led to this person's life, sort of the key events around that time. And then the conclusion, the sort of summing up. This is the chance to sort of put in any extra information, any information that didn't really sit properly, didn't fit into the other paragraphs. Okay. Now today we're going to focus on just a couple of these. We're going to focus on early life and link to career, and we're going to focus on end of life. Okay, so these are the 3 box up sections that we're going to focus on. We'll look at the others next time. So let's take a look at the biography itself and see what bits of information we would have had to research, we would have had to find out before we could do this piece of writing. Okay, obviously this is in full sentences. This is all very, correctly written. We're using proper English, but we needed to do some research first. We needed the bullet points, we needed the key facts, which you would have found generally online. I think online is probably going to be your best source of information. So this block of text here, these 2 paragraphs, this is the early life part of our biography. So to produce this text, what information would I have needed to pull off the internet? Well, it's just some, as I say, just some bullet points, some key facts. I would have needed to know when Christopher Marlowe was born. Now, as we've said before, we actually, the only specific date we've got is when he was baptized. So we've got to assume that he was born just a little before that. Okay, so I'm assuming that he was born in 1564, but early on, January or early February. Got to assume that he was born quite close to the time he was baptized. Okay, so we'd have needed that date. I didn't need to find out which school he attended. So as a young boy, he attended King's School. I needed to research and find out that he received a scholarship allowing him to go to Corpus Christi College in Cambridge. And I've got the dates there that he attended the university. Okay, all of these just in bullet points, just those facts, those bits of information, which I can later turn into full sentences. I identified that he got his degree in 1584. Okay, and you can see he actually stayed on at the university for another 3 years. And this was when there was all that confusion about his masters, whether the university should award him his masters, because they were concerned. He was sort of in and out, he kept disappearing, he wasn't doing all of his work and so on. But they gave him his masters following a letter. And here, my notes are a little bit more detailed. I've got in quotes here because I needed to make sure, because this is exactly what was written, I made sure that was in my box up. So it made it word for word into the actual piece of writing. I couldn't really abbreviate this because it's the words that were actually written down. So on matters touching the benefit of his country. Quite vague, but enough to cause the university to reconsider and give him his master's. Okay, but you can see these are all basically just bullet points. These are a list of facts, of dates, of bits of information that we will need. And then when we come to the actual biography itself, we can pad them out. We can turn them into full, complete sentences, paragraphs, make them as clear and as fully expanded and explained as we can possibly manage. But if there's any actual bits of information, they have to go in your box up. This is where your research is collected. Okay. Moving on, this part of the biography is the link to the career. Okay, so this is the sort of the transition stage from education into working life. Now, it talks all about this, let's say, this spying, all the rumors of the spying that was going on. So what information, what bullet points, what research would I have needed to produce these 2 paragraphs? Well, first of all, this letter, because whilst the information within the letter was enough to convince the university to give him his master's, it really wasn't clear. It was not detailed. And so it led to a lot of speculation. So the letter wasn't clear, but it did make people wonder if Marlowe was a spy. And it identified, or in my research, I identified Sir Francis Walsingham and his intelligence service as a possible place for Marlowe to do his spying. Okay, but this was just people wondering, lots of speculation. So as I said, all I've got there is lots of speculation. And then we've been able to pad that out and create an almost complete paragraph, really, talking about this idea of what evidence was actually available to prove, yes or no, whether Marlowe was a spy or what he was actually doing when he disappeared on these various jobs. Okay. And then ultimately, thanks to this letter, he did get his master's and he moved himself to London and took up writing full time. Okay, so those are my bullet points. Those are the facts I found in my research. And from those, I was able to pad them out and create much fuller, much more complete sentences and paragraphs that you can see here. Okay. The middle of the biography is for a later box up. So there's nothing here we need to worry about for now. We get to the end of our story, and this is at the end of life section where Marlowe was sadly killed. Okay, but again, what information would have needed to have been researched, needed to have been found out to actually put this text together? Well, first of all, we needed to know when he died. And he died on May 30th, 1593. Now, in this section of the text, the 1593 doesn't appear. It does appear in the previous paragraph. Okay, so we've already identified that we're in 1593. And so in the next paragraph, we'll simply move on to later in the year with on May 30th. Okay, so we have used that piece of information. It's just we used it in the previous paragraph. So we needed to find out when he died. We needed to find out how he died and by whose hands. So in this case, he was stabbed in the forehead by Ingram Fraser during a fight, possibly over a bill at a lodging house. And this possibly, and this speculation, this rumor, plays a big part in Marlowe's biography. There's very few hard facts. Okay, so there is a lot of speculation, and we need to make that clear. And even after his death, there were conspiracy theories. And again, that needed to be included in the box up. These conspiracy theories about his spying or atheism being the real reason why he was killed. Okay, so even after his death, people weren't 100% sure why he was actually killed. Was it simply the fight? Or was it something to do with the rest of his life, with his beliefs, his atheism, his heresy? Or was it to do with his spying? We simply don't know. And maybe we'll never know. And within the biography, as long as that's clear that this is all rumor and speculation, then it's perfectly okay to include it. So that is the box up I created. So all the key facts, all the important information is there, but relatively brief. Okay, these are little phrases. They're not necessarily complete sentences. That's for the write-up. That's when we actually put it all together. Okay, so here's your task for today. And you don't need to put these on tapestry until it's all brought together. Okay, so we've got a few stages before you start putting your biography together. So don't feel any pressure to upload it to Tapestry straight away. Get a few things built, get your biography underway, and then we'll look at it later on. Okay, so I'm going to allow you the chance to sort of just start to build your box up, and then build your biography, and then upload it for us to have a look at when it's a little bit more complete. So your task today is complete the boxes for your own biography about, drum roll please, William Shakespeare. Okay, so that's the person you're going to be researching and finding information about. And that's the information that's going to go into your box up, into these three particular box ups. So what was William Shakespeare's early life like? Where was he born? When was he born? What was his education like? Where did he go to school? Were there any key events in his childhood? Linked to career. Okay, so as he's completing his education, what steered him towards his early jobs? What were his early jobs? And then the end of life one. When did Shakespeare die? Were there any particular events that led to his death? Okay, so all those bits of information, get yourself online, or if you're lucky enough to have any books that might support this research at home, then go for that, but probably a Google search. Find the information, let's get these bullet points in, let's start our box up. So early life, linked to career, and end of life of William Shakespeare. Okay, so you're going to need to do that research. I am not expecting you to turn this into big, long sentences at this stage. You don't need to create big paragraphs. It's get the information. Okay? Get that information jotted down. The blank box-up sheets, as I said earlier, are on Teams in the resources section. Okay? Good luck with this. As usual, look after yourself, look after those around you, and I will see you all very soon.